What's going on, guys? Brand new episode here of To the House podcast. I'm your host, Leo Rodriguez, and we're officially, guys, in Studio 69 with a brand new microphone, brand new sound box, guys. I love it. We can do a lot of these now. Pretty sweet. I love this thing. This is so fun. I appreciate it. Uh, Studio 69 being the place to be for podcasts right now. So, glad to be doing this on the studio finally, renovating it. Still in a working progress, of course, but of course, very excited to have this studio ready to go here, guys. And it's officially, we missed last week because of the renovations. So, I'm glad to be back in action. I'm giving you guys a new episode here of Say No More podcast of To the House podcast. Of course, Say No More will be here as well, and there will be a few more projects coming through as we are looking to add shows for you every week, basically. So very excited to start. So let's get over with. Obviously we're having Monday Night Football currently live as we speak, as I'm recording this on Monday night. It's been a long week. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving week. Hope you guys are gonna have a great Thanksgiving, of course, and hopefully you guys eat a lot of turkey because there's a lot of food to be eaten here this year. So, and we also have to be thankful to have time with our families. It's always good. It's always good. Thanksgiving is always fun. One of my favorite holidays, indeed. You know me, I like to eat, and Thanksgiving is just a fun holiday in general, and get to watch the Cowboys and get to watch football. Not only just that, we got probably two very good games, probably three in this point. Very excited about talking about these games, but let's get straight into it. The first game I want to talk about is the Steelers taking on the Cleveland Browns. Browns ended up winning 13-10 in an ugly offensive showing for both teams. Great defenses, no questions about it, though. These are some really good defenses here. But let's just get into it right now. The Steelers are a mess. Offensively, they're a complete utter disaster. Kenny Pickett clearly doesn't look like he's thriving in the system. If anything, he's really struggling. And it shows. Oh, it shows, all right. It's not looking very good for Kenny Pickett right now. And this offense is just straight nasty right now. It's just ugly. It's just very ugly. And one of the things that makes me worried is that they're winning games. They're 6-4. And I guess that's okay for Mike Tomlin and the Steelers team, because their defense really is just so elite that they can clearly, cover the offense. Because, like, obviously a game like today, like this week where they played against the Cleveland Browns, 10 points nearly was enough. I mean, the Browns had to score a field goal to win this game. It was close. It was 10-10 at one point. So it's just a wild game. And it's not looking very good for the Steelers offensively. Matt Canada is just not a good coordinator. His offense looks kind of dated. It kind of looks very poor. And I don't know what else to say about this. This is quite ugly. Quite ugly indeed. Kenny Pickett's struggling. The running game has somewhat gotten better. It's gotten a lot better as of late. But who knows? It just doesn't look good for the Steelers, and it just doesn't look right. But they're winning games, and they're 6-4, so it doesn't really matter for them. So, and their schedule does get tougher, but who knows how much tougher will it be? Who knows? It's just going to get ugly. And we'll talk about the Cleveland Browns. They're a playoff team. And why are they a playoff team? Because of that defense. I mean, they lost to Sean Watson last week to injury. And they played the rookie, Dorian was it Thompson Robinson? He looked pretty mediocre. He clearly looked like a backup quarterback, and but it doesn't matter because the Browns defense is just so elite. Whatever Dan Schwartz is doing, or Jim Schwartz is doing in Cleveland, it's working. It's such an elite defense. This defense really is through so many incredible things, and I have to say, very impressive indeed from the Browns defense. It just they smother teams. I mean, look what they did to Baltimore. Baltimore was up big, and then they just completely dominated the game. And obviously, having Deshaun Watson playing slightly better was important for them, but that was big. And the Browns now just signed Joe Flacco into their practice squad. Obviously, he's just trying to get used to the playbook and see how that goes. But yeah, I'm just curious to see what they do, and hopefully, this team can get pretty far and challenge the Ravens, who looks like they're going to run away with this division at this point. So we'll see. Cleveland's still winning, so that's all that matters for them, and they'll take that. They'll take that. Obviously, the next game I want to talk about is the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Miami Dolphins. Probably the first true big test for the Las Vegas Raiders under the Antonio Pierce era, and as well as their defense has played, and their defense played a very strong game, it wasn't enough. Their offense struggled a bit. I thought Ian O'Connell showed moments that really impressed me. He's very aggressive throwing the football. He has a nice arm, but the problem is that he needs to improve on his reads. He turns the ball over kind of stupidly, and it kind of shows. He struggled a bit with the with his reads. In that last play, he threw an interception to Jalen Ramsey of all people, which is not a good look. If you really think about it, it's not a good look for them to for him to throw the football at one of the best corners in the National Football League, in Jalen Ramsey. So he has to improve on that, but I think he will. I think he will, and he showed promise. And the Raiders are still in it. They're 5-6. Um, their schedule does get a little tricky, but I still think they can do pretty well. But one thing is for sure, in my opinion, the Dolphins are not true Super Bowl contenders. They're just not. I'm sorry. I mean, they struggled against a team that has this is with an interim head coach, and they struggled. Yeah, the numbers show that their offense was moving, but they only scored 20 points. And once they play against real teams, they just don't show up. The Dolphins are becoming that kind of a team. So, in my opinion, it's ugly. I don't know what else to say, but the Dolphins my are just not a sexy pick anymore. They're just not showing me that they are capable of going pretty far in the playoffs. I just don't see it. I don't know what else to say, but I just don't see it from them. And we'll see, but their schedule just gets tougher. They still have to play the Cowboys. They still have to play the Bills. They have to play the Jets defense, and they're not very good at playing against good defenses. So it's curious to see how this goes for them, but I just don't see it. I just don't see the Dolphins going that far. They play. I guarantee you, even in the AFC, you got Jacksonville, you have Houston, Kansas City again, Baltimore, Cleveland. I don't see them better than any of those teams right now. They're a good offense, but that's pretty much it. And it shows. They're one dimensional. So let's talk about the Los Angeles Chargers at Green Bay Packers. Goodness gracious. The Packers win 23-20. Can the Chargers finally fire Brandon Staley right now? Can they please just fire that guy? I mean, how on earth does this guy continuously remains a head coach in the National Football League? It makes no sense to me. And the worst part is he's quite arrogant. He's kind of an arrogant fella. I just don't understand why is he so cocky. He's never really done anything with the Chargers. He has a top 10 roster, arguably one of the best rosters in Nashville, and they are 4-6. They're going to 4-7 with a short week coming up, and it's ugly. I just don't get it. Their defense doesn't really stop anybody, which is a problem. Uh, and it's just ugly. It's just it's just an ugly team, and they're not playing good. Because it's a shame. Because on paper, you see that roster, and you say, "Jesus Christ, this roster is phenomenal." But I just don't know. I just don't know, and I don't think they're good enough to even pull it off. So we'll see how it goes. But the Chargers really need to fix. They need to change. They need to make changes, and they need to make it now. And I'm not sure if they keep Brandon Staley, they honestly might win maybe just 6, 7 games, and that's still not good enough with this roster. And they spend a lot of money on this roster, so it's not like the Houston Texans or the Jacksonville Jaguars where they're just on an upward slide. The Chargers are going downwards, and they have a great roster already. They have a Super Bowl caliber roster, and they're just not good enough. It's just not good enough. It's something going on with this roster, but it's just not good enough. But we'll talk about another thing. Jordan Love. Jordan Love's got a big future right now, and that's a big, 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 big scenario for the Packers. Um, Jordan Love needs confidence, and it's something that I have to say that truly showed. Um, their season has been sluggish because there were some ugly losses for them. But one of the things that really showed me that they have some promise is that Jordan Love in close scenarios shows some clutch genes. I mean, he shows that he has the ability. Uh, I have to say, I was quite impressed with that drive to help them win the game. He was pretty good. He threw for a good amount of yards against a very good defense, and he continuously shows how brilliant he can be. Um, big time, big time win for him and for his future with the team. I think the Packers really need to show that a little more confidence in Jordan. I think Jordan is improving week by week. He had an ugly few games, but for sure he's starting to show his ability as a quarterback, and his receivers are starting to make big catches. Christian Watson had some nice grabs, and it just showed. And one thing to take away from this game as well is that obviously a big loss for the Chargers defense. Joey Bosa got injured. Luckily, it was not a serious injury. It looks like he'll be out for at least a few weeks, maybe a little bit more. But a lot of people were worried that it was a torn Achilles, but it turned out to be just a foot injury, a foot sprain, and that's good for the Chargers because Joey Bosa is a guy that you really need to see playing week in and week out. He's just so special. So, in my opinion, this was a much needed win for the Chargers to not lose their obvious star asset, which is Joey Bosa. We'll talk about another game. Arizona Cardinals at Houston Texans. Texans winning 21-16. We'll talk about the Cardinals real quick before we talk about all the obvious topic in this game. But the Cardinals, I think they have figured out that they have a quarterback in their roster. They have Kyler Murray shows that he can play. And when he plays, he's elite. It shows. Because Kyler Murray obviously has changed the Cardinals now. They are a little more of a threat now. They're a little more dynamic. Um, he, they have decent receivers, but they don't have a number one receiver, and that's what I think they have to do in this draft. I mean, in this upcoming NFL draft, uh, I think they should go and get Marvin Harrison Jr. If, of course, they're in the running. Right now, they're still in the running. They're 2-9. Um, they look pretty. They look like they are on their way of possibly getting uh, Marvin Harrison Jr. Because I don't think they should go for a quarterback. I think Kyler Murray is a very good quarterback, a very good quarterback, and that fits their system. And I think the Cardinals, obviously, they know that if he gets injured once again, that could be a problem. But you're not entirely sure if the other quarterback they draft doesn't have an injury bug as well. So that's the thing with drafts. And obviously, Kyler Murray's not a bad option. I think it's a no-brainer for the Cardinals. I think they just need to get that number one receiver, that playmaker, and Marvin Harrison Jr. clearly is the guy for them. And I think this is the guy they need to go for. But guys, let's talk about the obvious topic we got to talk about here. CJ Stroud, man. Holy shit, this guy. He's the real deal. He's, for me, the MVP this season. I mean, a lot of people are going to say A.J. Brown. A lot of people are going to say Tyreek Hill. A lot of people are going to say Patrick Mahomes. A lot of people are going to say other names. Maybe Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry. I think C.J. Stroud is the MVP. He's having the greatest rookie season ever, in my opinion. He is having one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time, guys. Like, you guys got to understand this. He's having an insanely good rookie season. This Texans team, I didn't expect them to win. I didn't expect them to win more than 6 games, 7 games, maybe. I didn't expect them to win that much. They're 6-4, and they could compete for the playoffs and compete for the division. A rookie quarterback doing this right away is truly insane. It's truly remarkable. It is something that to be marveled. And in my opinion, he's proven it week by week that he is becoming that elite dude right away. A right away guy. A guy that straight away makes an impact. Truly incredible. Truly incredible. It's something to be behold here, and I love to see that coming forward with CJ Stroud, and I think he should be the MVP. He's having the greatest rookie season I've ever seen, and I've seen some good ones. I've seen Randy Moss. I've seen Odell Beckham Jr. I think that clearly this guy is doing something more incredible, and Houston are a legit playoff contender right now. I think it's safe to say that right now. Next game, I'm going to talk about the New York Giants taking on the Washington Commanders. Oh my lord. We can talk about the Commanders later, but I'm happy to see Tommy DeVito, quarterback for the New York Giants right now. Really, in my opinion, showing that he could, he got to win. He got to win for the Giants. It was going to be ugly. Everybody obviously was, saying that, this guy can't win and this guy can't do it and this guy is this guy's that. I'm glad to see that he could shut everybody up and got a first NFL win. I'm happy for him. He had a nice game, uh, and the Giants got a much needed win, which is pretty hilarious because that the Giants right now don't really need the wins because they're falling behind in the in the draft lineup right now. So maybe it's not a good idea for them right now to win these games. Maybe that's an issue for them. So we'll see how this goes. But I gotta say, guys, unbelievable win for the Giants. But let's talk about the Commanders, man. This is a shit organization. I I mean, I know that they're having new ownership, so clearly something has to be fixed. But one thing's for certain that they have to make some big changes. They need a new coaching staff. They need maybe a new quarterback. They maybe need some other things here and there. But yeah, I mean, clearly something needs to change, and it's just not a good football team right now. And they started out pretty okay, but ever since they've gone, ever since they didn't go for two on that game against the Eagles. It's just not been the same for the Commanders. And I don't know what else to say about them. They have issues. They have a lot of big issues going forward. And for the Giants, winning this game could also mean that they could go back to back because they're playing the Patriots next week, and that's a game they could definitely win. And to go back and back on that, that'd be something very interesting to see. So ugly, 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 ugly. Jets, Bills. Bills winning 32-6. All right, let's make this short and sweet. The Jets suck, and the season's over. The season's over. Like it's fair to say that it's over. It's over. And oh, for the Jets, they're gonna start Tim Boyle. That's official. And well, Zach Wilson, I think the era is finally over. I think there's no other way that he could come back. And I feel for them. So I feel for them, but who knows? You know, ugly, ugly one, ugly one. Um, for the Bills, they got their big win, but their schedule is just absolutely nasty. It's gonna get even uglier. This is gonna be a really ugly schedule. I mean, they got at Philly, at Kansas City, then they have a bye, and then it's they host Dallas. It's gonna be ugly. But the thing that makes me think about the Bills is I think the Bills are gonna be in the hunt for the playoffs, but who knows? Who knows? It is a tough schedule, and it looks like Miami is gonna run away with this division, but who knows? I'm not entirely sure right now, but it's weird. It's a weird season. A lot of things can happen. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Vikings, Broncos. Broncos winning 21-20. Guys, can we appreciate One of the greatest resurrections in NFL history by Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. Do you guys know that the Denver Broncos were 1-5 and allowed 70 points in an NFL game? And yet they're 5-5 in the playoffs. And they have now Russell Wilson, who everybody was saying that should be benched, that this guy sucks, this guy should go. And guess what? He's playing as well as he's probably playing the best he's ever played in the Denver Broncos uniform. And they're in the playoffs. Yes, their schedule is ugly. It's tough, but they're dangerously confident now. They're playing really good defense right now. Something that's always been in Denver's bread and butter. Everybody knows that. But it's just truly remarkable what they've done. It's truly remarkable. Mm. It's truly remarkable what they've done. You have to praise Sean Payton for this. This is truly this is truly one of the best coaching jobs I've ever done. They've done it in mid-season, guys. They were 1-5, and they came back. And they're 5-5. They've beaten the Chiefs. They've beaten some good teams. They've beaten some good teams. They beat one of the hottest teams in football in the Minnesota Vikings. It's truly amazing. It's truly amazing. It's truly amazing. Kevin O'Connell, I think, for the Vikings, though, I think he should have been more aggressive. I think he's been too lenient with Josh Dobbs. I mean, I get it. Josh Dobbs is not Kirk Cousins, but I think he needs to be more aggressive. They're in the hunt. They're in the mix for the playoffs. They're 6-5. Obviously, they're not going to win the division. I think the Lions have already just wrapped that up, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think they need to be more aggressive. They could have won this game, but shout out to the Broncos, man. They won. They won, and they won pretty fair and square. Very impressive for the Broncos. It's very impressive. Chiefs Eagles just finished. Final score: Eagles 21, Chiefs 17. The Eagles get a huge win at Kansas City, and get the Eagles, as criticized as they are, and they should be because they're not as dominant as they were last year. And I still maintain that the Eagles are not an elite team right now because they've gone. Sometimes you need luck, and that's what the Eagles have gotten because they should have lost to the Cowboys, and they should have lost to the Chiefs. What happened today was that the Chiefs can't catch a football. They obviously have a huge problem. They need receivers. Patrick Mahomes, as great as he is, and he is great. Travis Kelsey, as great as he is. Travis Kelsey. Travis Kelsey are just not. He's not playing well ever since Taylor Swift, to be fair. He hasn't played well. It's safe to say that right now. It, it, it's just truly remarkable. This Eagles team won today, and they should never have won. The Chiefs gave them that game. It's safe to say the Chiefs have a huge problem. Their offense is not good enough. They're just not good enough. They're just not good enough. They're just they're just not good enough. They're just not good enough. But hey, sometimes you need luck in football. But I honestly believe if the Eagles play the Cowboys or they play the Niners, which they will, or they play the Lions, I don't think the Eagles would win. I truly believe it. They're a 9-1, but they're okay. They're not as elite as last year. Last year they were dominating teams. They were dominating teams. They're not dominating teams this year. They are not. They are not. They should have lost to the Cowboys, and they should have lost today. But the Cowboys, obviously, the refs gave them the game. The refs gave the Eagles the game in that one, and Dak was unable to put the ball in the end zone 3 times. And the Chiefs today, they couldn't catch a football. Too many drops. That's what happened. That's what happened. Well, guys, have a good time. We'll see you next week on the new episode of To the House.